Living paycheck to paycheck gets really old really fast. It's a stressful way to be in existence, and it's also not the most efficient because, as you know, for those of us who have had to suffer through this, or maybe you're going through it right now, it's a constant battle to juggle different accounts and balances and credit cards all around. But the question remains, how do you break this cycle? How do you get that magical lottery, this influx of cash that's going to change your life? Well, what if I told you it's not about winning the lottery or hitting some kind of jackpot, either in real life at a casino or figuratively speaking with your business? There's actually something that you could start to do right now, today, to break the feedback loop of living paycheck to paycheck. In this video, I'm going to show you some of the things that you can do if you're not great at saving money in order to stop living paycheck to paycheck and start getting more sleep at night and start having more peace in your life. Hi, welcome. I'm Christina Scalera, and I help you with all things passive income, including development, growth, management, and I did this through starting an online d-commerce, which is a term I made up, d-commerce store that sold contract templates, and then I sold that, and now I am solely focused here on this channel that I've been growing for a few years now. So it would mean a lot to me if you would check out some of the other videos, and if you like what you're seeing here, give it a subscribe and a like, because this channel takes a lot of time and money to produce, but I do it all for you and for your enjoyment. So please enjoy today's video, just like the other ones on this channel, and use them to continue to grow and develop. Personally, I like to listen to YouTubers while I'm driving in the car. I don't watch their videos, but I just put them on like a podcast. So if that helps at all to listen to more of the playlists and the information that is conveyed here on this channel, then please do that. So the number one way I broke out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle, especially as a business owner, was I created a cash flow forecast. Now, if you're watching this and you don't have a business yet, I might start with some of the other videos on this channel about how to start a business and grow it very quickly. But if you already are a business owner, then you know the power of looking at your numbers. And if you haven't looked at your numbers lately, or you're not sure what numbers to look at, then you'll definitely want to jump on my email list, because we have resources coming out soon that include a cash flow forecast template that you can use to fill out and manage your cash flow. Now, this is the same template that I use in my business month to month. It's also the same one that I use with my multiple 5-figure clients when we are doing our forecasting calls each month inside the Secretly Successful Mastermind. And the reason I started doing this with my clients is because it's hard to do this on your own. Even if you put it on your calendar, you might not feel like doing it that day. You might not really be excited about it. So one of the things that I've had to work very meticulously on in my business, because it has helped so much, is setting up a financial date with myself at least once a month. You know, I take myself out to a bougie brunch place. It's nice and quiet. It's during the week. It's all good. I get waited on hand and foot. They bring me as much unlimited coffee as I want, and I get to eat while I'm there and filling out this little financial forecast. It's really an enjoyable experience, and it makes me look forward to it every single month. Now, my clients might not have that luxury, or maybe they don't do that on a regular basis because they are showing up monthly to these forecasting calls, making sure that they are filling this document out. If a bougie brunch isn't your thing, then maybe peer pressure inside my mastermind, or peer pressure that you would fill this out with some of your friends, like you're all meeting around the same time, maybe that would be helpful for you. It's kind of like the buddy system when you're working out, but this is for business, not working out. So hopefully it's even easier than trying to meet up for time on a treadmill together, or, you know, something else that you guys do in the gym. I should be in the gym more to speak more knowledgeably about this, but clearly I am not. You know, it's really hard to get to a gym when you live in two places. I live in Washington and Colorado, and honestly, like when I'm in Colorado, actually even here, I don't want to be in a gym. It's so beautiful. We have tons of state national parks right outside the door. Like, I'm just gonna go do that. So maybe a national park date is more akin to my world, but I know not everyone is gonna relate to that. So yeah, use the gym buddy thing or the peer pressure thing to meet together to fill this forecast out. And at the time that I'm publishing this video, I don't have like a direct link for you to sign up to get this template that you guys can all use. But like I said, it is releasing soon to my email list. So just be sure that you're subscribed over at christinascalera.com, and you'll be first to be notified when this drops. So as a direct result of this, the second most important thing you can do is control your expenses. And what the forecasting actually helps you to see, more so than the P&L or, you know, just regular bookkeeping things that you might be looking at, is not just what your top line revenue is. That's really easy to see in Stripe or PayPal, Shopify, whatever you're using to process payments. That's the fun, sexy number that we all get to enjoy and celebrate and put screenshots up on Instagram, and it's really fun, but it's not the whole picture, because the whole picture involves involves maybe some contractors, maybe some software, maybe some taxes, just different kinds of expenses that it takes to maintain and run a business. And if you're growing a business, those expenses are going to be even a little bit higher than just maintenance mode. So this forecast helps you to identify your expenses, and even if you're not using the forecast, then you should be looking at what those are on a monthly basis so that you can determine if they are still a good use of your investment or if they should be cut or weaned off in the future, just preparing for either months that are low in cash flow, or maybe you're taking a sabbatical, just something is happening in your life where you want to cut back a little bit on those expenses. So the forecasting is really going to help you to see, are you getting a good ROI from the things that you're spending money on in your business? But if you're not doing the full forecasting, you can still take a closer look at expenses and just with a gut feeling decide if they are still worth investing in or if you should be canceling some of those contracts. One thing that I did not do that I really wish I had done in order to stop living paycheck to paycheck a little bit more quickly as a business owner was I wish I had delayed some of the expenses that I took on early on. And some of those expenses looked like investing in networking events and ads before I was ready. A lot of things that happened before I was really ready because there were so many gurus and people out there just telling me to do it scared, fail fast. And I bought into that mentality and that mindset. And while it worked out some of the time, most of the time I just went further into debt, or I had less and less cash flow if I was, at all profitable that month. That was completely eaten up by investing back into the business as fast as I possibly could. And in hindsight, I would have grown a little bit slower, but probably a little bit more intentionally and had less burnout if I had just delayed some of those expenses and put them off so that they happened over the course of several months, maybe even a year, versus trying to cram them all into one month. So for example, I would launch, we would have a big promo, I'd get a bunch of cash flow in, and I'd go and hire a bunch of people thinking, oh, like this is what I need to get to the next level. But I didn't really consider the cash flow problems that would happen with these new hires in like 3 months once that initial cash flow was gone from the promo or the launch. So that was a problem that I kept running into and why I lived paycheck to paycheck as a business owner at the beginning for so long. So if I had just maybe, invested in one new thing, I would have been better prepared to not only handle whatever that new thing was, like instead of hiring like Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook ads, if I had just invested in one of those things at a time, I would have been much better off because I would have more intentionally grown that platform, gotten more efficient, learned more about it, and been able to better hire the next platform that was the best fit for my business instead of trying to do it all at once. It's kind of like trying to drive like 5 cars to the grocery store at once. You're a lot more efficient if you can just get in one and go to the grocery store and come home and then drive the next one, to the grocery store and then the next one and the next one. If you're literally trying to drive 5 cars at once, just think about that. I know this sounds ridiculous, but this is what we do in our businesses. You would have to be driving in one car and then drive the other one in front of it and get out and run around and then drive the third car in front of it. You'd be so exhausted. You'd be in really good shape, but you would be so exhausted and it would take you literally 12 hours to get to a grocery store 2 miles away because you're driving and running and all this other stuff. But that's essentially what we're doing when we're trying to drive all these different vehicles in our business to move it forward. So instead of trying to do all of that at once and driving yourself crazy, burning yourself out, just drive the one car to the grocery store, come back, and you can drive the next car to the grocery store next month. I hope that analogy makes sense. I know it's a little silly, but it definitely helped to put things into perspective when I realized that's what I was doing. Okay, so this next one is a little bit controversial. This is where I ran into some really big problems. So I would suggest that you take this one lightly or you only really start to use it once your business is in an expansion mode. So what I mean by that is if this is a business idea, it hasn't really been validated, it's not selling that great, or it's selling, but it's not selling regularly yet, you're not seeing a steady, consistent flow of sales every day or every week, then this is a problem that you need to work on first before you investigate this method to get out of living paycheck to paycheck. So this one's super controversial because it's something that can get you into further problems, which is using credit. So if you have a business credit card or any kind of business loan, any line of credit, maybe from PayPal Capital or Stripe Capital, I think Shopify even has a capital program. So if you are using anything like that, it can be used to further the operations of your business, especially before a really busy time. Like if you know that you are going to hit a certain dollar amount on Black Friday, because you always do, you're doing the same promotion but better this year, whatever the case may be, then it can be really helpful to use this line of credit or capital to grow the business in time for that big event. However, if you are not sure, if you are just like on a wing and a prayer, hoping this works out, gut feeling like you know it's going to work out, that might not be the best gut feeling that you follow. And I would urge you to definitely triple consider whether credit is the way that you want to build your business a little bit faster this time. I would highly encourage you to see how you can make your revenue more consistent before you start using capital or credit, because a lot of people use it as a crutch versus as a tool, and that's where they start to get into some trouble. I know I did this, so I am not passing any judgment at all. I know exactly what this is like, and I know why this is a mistake because I did this. And what happens is you end up stealing from future you. So you today is like, yay, fun, ads, growth, massive expansion. And that's all well and good until future you either hasn't caught up to the expansion because it takes a little bit of time to continue to scale, or you bet on the wrong thing and now you are paying for it because there was no ROI, or the ROI was much lower than you anticipated, and now you have to find a way to pay that capital back. So you're actually in a worse position then because you're making the same or less money and you have this loan to pay for on top of it. So as someone who has done this more than once, I would say really save that as like a last ditch effort, especially in a situation where there's a time crunch like Black Friday's coming up that you're gonna make that money back on. If it's just kind of like this loosey-goosey, yeah, we're gonna be launching at some point this summer, so we'll use this capital today to build up for that launch, and then at some point we'll launch. That is not as solid of a bet as saying, I have launched 3 times on Black Friday before, and I know that we're going to make at least this much and I'll be able to pay this off, and I'm going to use this to grow in this very specific way before this event happens. I think that's a much more smart use of your credit and capital than just on a wing and a prayer hoping it works out for the best. And then finally, with whatever small amount that you can, I would start planning for the unexpected. You always want to have an emergency fund in your business, not even necessarily to pay for emergencies. Like I've never actually tapped into an emergency fund to pay for something that was unexpected and came up. Taxes might be the exception. I think I did tap into an emergency fund once for that. But what your emergency fund actually gives you is the freedom to pursue the projects and the clients that you really enjoy working with. So if you are always strapped for cash, always living paycheck to paycheck, you are most likely only going to be working with the things that have the most ROI for the time that you're spending, the most, bang for the buck with the client or the project. And these might not align with your priorities of what you find yourself enjoying or what you're passionate about. So what the emergency fund actually does for you is it gives you that cash cushion to feel more secure in your life and your business so that you can work on the projects and with the clients that are maybe a little bit more frivolous, or you're not sure how things are going to turn out for them, or to pursue projects like launching a digital product or starting an online course, because you have a little bit of runway saved up in that emergency fund to pursue something a little more creative and fun that feels flowy. And honestly, I think that's where a lot of the growth in my business actually came from. It wasn't like investing and always leveling up. It was actually in creating a lot of white space and learning how to be more creative and in the flow with my work, so that was then conveyed to my audience, and they felt that, like they could feel that energy as I was launching those products and those courses that were more in the flow. A good example of this is my e-commerce accelerator. So this is something that combines Launch Your Shop Academy, which teaches you how to create your first product and launch your shop, and my S4 system, which is my simple sustained sales system. So with both of those things combined, which I really created like from a really fun, flowy place. I remember recording the lessons for Launch Your Shop Academy while I was in this beautiful high-rise that was brand new in Miami Beach. Everything felt so good about that, and I would not have been able to do that had I not built an emergency fund and cash cushion with my first business, which I actually sold last year. So having that cash cushion can really open up a lot of possibilities and doors for you. It can open up the ability to work with a new mentor who takes you to that next level. I know that also was a part of that journey for me. So the emergency fund is really, really helpful if you are thinking about scaling and you want to get to that next level, you want to play a bigger game, and you feel like you're playing small right now. When I was in the position of living paycheck to paycheck as a small business owner, basically making less than minimum wage, not really sure how I would survive, much less thrive, this is the system that I use to elevate myself out of that slowly over time. So yes, a big windfall would certainly help, but I think most of you would actually find yourselves back in this position because you wouldn't have the tools that we talked about and the systems we talked about today set up for your future success. You would kind of just go back to your old habits. So I hope this was really helpful, and I hope you can start to implement at least some of the things that we talked about today, just so you can start to feel what it's like to run a business without the stress of constantly wondering where your next client or your next dollar is going to come from, because that is the most free feeling in the world. And it just helps you to move into this really flowy, very easy to scale place. So if you're interested in adding even more revenue to your top line in your business and you're not quite sure what that looks like, but you want to do it in a passive way, do check out christinascalera.com. I have a free workshop there that shows you exactly what kind of products you should be creating and launching and selling based on my almost 8 years of experience in doing this. It's actually, I don't know, it's probably more than that now, but whatever. We'll be conservative and say it was 8 years because that was about the time that I started that first, well, actually the first business that failed miserably was my bathroom signs business, but that's a story for a different day. I've told that on Instagram at Christina Scalera, so maybe go check that out there. But anyway, I hope this has helped some of you. If it has, definitely hit the like button and be sure to watch the next video that pops up on your screen. I know my team has linked something that is really, really special that relates to the content that I shared here. They have a better grasp on all that than I do, to be honest. I just, get to do the fun stuff, get to be the monkey in front of the camera and tell you guys my stories, my experience. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.